Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to hike to Sugarloaf Mountain here in the Big Bear area of Southern California. Now, there are hundreds of Sugarloaf, this, that, and the other things, obviously named after the blocks of sugar that they used to sell in the general stores. They used to chip away at them, and they'd kind of look like a mountain. So they decided to name everything in the world Sugarloaf. Just don't call me Sugarloaf, but otherwise, fair game to call a mountain Sugarloaf. Now, when you hike up here, it's really nice because you get beautiful views of San Gorgonio and all of the 10,000-foot peaks over there, the High Line on the ridge. And it's about 12 miles, a little over 3,000 feet of climbing. It's tough, but not too tough. And then when you get up here, you get these really neat views and a mountain summit. And if you've ever hiked over there, you've done San Bernardino Peak or San Gorgonio, this is the tall peak on the other side of the valley that you've probably seen as you climb from over there. Now, if you want to do the hike, I have a full guide on HikingGuy.com, excuse me, where I have maps and parking information, all of that stuff. And if you're enjoying the video, if you could do me a favor and just click that little thumbs up button, helps the channel out. So thank you for that. And also helps other people find the video. So you're kind of paying it forward so that other people know what to expect when they get out here. All right, let's hit the trail.
All right, from the parking area, we're going to avoid these side roads over here and head straight up this Forest Service Road, Wild Horse Canyon. Now, you can also drive up to the official start of the trail, but most people park down here because the road's pretty rocky and rough, kind of has the potential to give you a flat unless you have sort of off-road tires and high clearance. Now, we're going to go straight. We're going to avoid the roads off to the left and right, little unofficial trails. There is an official Forest Service road off to the right here. We're going to go straight on Wild Horse Canyon Road. And this section is not too long before we actually get to the trail. And the road kind of loops around to the left. You can see there's more side trails as we go up here. There's a lot of use trails, old abandoned Forest Service roads. But we're going to go straight until we see this sign right here, which is our clue that the actual trail is close. And if you do drive up, you park right back there. Once you pass that sign, you're going to look to the right. There's a trail to the left, but to the right is where the actual Sugarloaf National Recreation Trail starts. I'm just going to go through the gate here, which is going to stop all of the motorized traffic. You can see hikers are okay. And now it's going to feel like a trail. And we're also going to start going uphill more as we go up the very lush green canyon. Now, this is just a really cool rock formation that I wanted to show you. There are some mines around here as well, but this really beautiful, really lush, old growth forest as we go up these slopes here. And you can see how green it is. You're going to cross over some little tributaries of Green Creek, which will be over on your right-hand side as we go up here. And you can see some really beautiful forest as we go through here. And there's a little creek crossing. Still some water running, which is good. Once we go through this kind of heavily vegetated part, it's really going to start going uphill, and it gets rocky too. You can see the ground is rocky here. A little bit wider. This is actually listed as a 4x4 road on the old topographic maps, but now it is closed because it is a national recreation trail. So only hikers and people on foot here, maybe equestrian, I'm not sure. But I've never seen any horses here, but I have seen hikers. But we're going to go uphill on the steep section. When you get to the big tree across the trail, we're just going to go over it and go straight. There is a trail off to the left, which is an old abandoned Forest Service road that's pretty heavily overgrown, but we're going to continue to go uphill until the trail levels out a bit, and this will feel like a welcomed relief because it is pretty steep back there. There are steep sections, and once it levels out, you're going to come to really the only intersection that we're going to have here, which is right here. There's Sugarloaf, and if we go straight, that's the Wild Horse Trail. And Wild Horse Canyon, which is down on the other side, was named Wild Horse because after World War I, the cavalry realized that they could not fight with horses anymore, and they let the horses go there. So kind of neat. That's where they lived. Once you come through, there's a nice early viewpoint of San Gorgonio in the distance, and we're going to get to see San Gorgonio as we hike up here a couple times. Not from the peak, but along the way we'll be able to see it. And from here, we're going up the ridge, which is uphill, but it's not quite as steep, at least for the most part, as we hike up towards Sugarloaf. There are steep sections and level sections. You can see here it starts to go uphill a little bit. Now, the thing about this hike is there are 3 or 4 false summits, and you're going to come to this little rock outcropping here, and you're going to see a bump in the distance. It's going to look like Sugarloaf Mountain, but it is not. It is one of the false summits as we go up here. So we're going to keep going up. There's a nice view of San Gorgonio, Anderson Peak, all of the high peaks over to the left. And it's nice. You're going to go through these old grizzled pines. There's an old National Recreation Trail sign in the bark. The trail markers here are notches cut into the trees, and I'll talk about that. And also a little bit of the history about the National Recreation Trail on the guide too. So check that out if you want to learn more. Here you can see how rocky it gets. Some of these sections are just pure rock that you're going to hike over, so wear the appropriate footwear. And there are some nice vegetated sections. This is a pretty shady hike. Even though it can get hot in the area, the shade and the coverage is really good. But this whole section to the peak is just sort of an alternation of climbing and level sections. And when you get up to the next false summit, you'll be able to see another summit in the distance, which can be a little disheartening if you're really tired. But we're going to go downhill here for a little bit down to a saddle. Now you're going to have to climb back up us on the way back, so save some energy when you get to the peak. But once we get down to the bottom, we're going to start climbing again. And from here, just to about a couple minutes before the summit, you're going to get nice views. There's another summit over there, nice views off to the left of San Gorgonio and all the high peaks there, the high line, as they call it, of Anderson and San Bernardino. And then towards the end, there's another steep section. We're going to climb up this one little last steep section before we get to the summit. And this is pretty high. Sugarloaf is, I think, at 9,952 feet. So you might be a little winded, but more views. These are the last opportunity here to check the views out before we get to the summit. There's no views at the summit. It's all wooded, but it's still pretty neat. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful panoramic views as we go through these old pines and junipers, twisted alpine vegetation here. And after a little bit, after that last little climb, you're going to come to the summit area where there's a few signs. There's a marker here. And then there's a survey marker up ahead. That's usually where the trail register, or the summit register lives, down the bottom there. There you can see the old survey marker. And then there's a nice newer sign up here. And that's the hike. You just go back the way you came after this.
So that's it. Cool hike. Definitely recommend doing it. It's a nice one too, because it's not as crowded as some of the more popular peaks here in Southern California. Now, if you stick around for a second, I'll show you what this hike looks like on a 3D map. But otherwise, guys, I will see you out on the trails. Sugarloaf signing out. Bye.
All right, so here's the hike. You can see we're coming off of Route 38 down here. This is the Forest Service Road, and then we start the actual trail up. This is called Green Canyon. This was the trail marker, and then we go up there. So let me just show you in detail here as we swing down. Here's where we pull off the road. That was that side road. There's parking along the side over here. It's not an official parking lot. You can kind of park wherever. Just make sure you're not blocking the road. And then from here, the road goes up. Here are some of those side roads that I mentioned, some of the campgrounds, the equestrian ground. But we're going to loop around here. And then this is the turn, that sharp turn after the sign. So let me loop it back here. There we go. So if you do drive up, you park around here, but otherwise you make this turn and you start hiking up the canyon. Here you can see we're going up, 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 up until I run out of room here on Google Maps. But basically this is a tougher part. There is, there is a decent amount of climbing as we get up here. And then here we are at the summit, at the junction. This is Wild Horse Canyon, where I told you the horses were. Actually, I don't think they released them there. I think they released them somewhere else, and they ended up coming here and hanging out. But from here, we're going to hang a right and then hike up along the ridge. If I go up a little bit, you'll be able to see the false summits as we go. There's a false summit. There's a false summit. There's that downhill. And then there's a last little uphill. And then there's the summit. And to give you an idea of where we are, if I swing around this way, and let's zoom out a little bit, look up, and there you can see that's the ridge we're looking at with San Gorgonio and the other peaks in the distance. And then once you're here, like I said, you just turn around and head back the way you came.